Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial, and today we've got another video in our series on dry docking the battleship. A pretty common question we've been asked is about the scope of work for the project. We plan on taking the ship out of the water, repainting the underside of the ship, checking all the through-hull openings, so that'll mean things like packing the propeller shafts again, and checking all of the sea chests, and then of course replacing the cathodic protection on the underside of the ship. Those are the three things, or the only things. I've mentioned them in just about every video. That is the scope of work for the project. So the natural question that we've gotten many times as a follow-up to that is, why are we only doing those three things? Why are we limiting it to the outside below water hull? Other ships have gone into the yard and gotten significant work done on the inside. For example, today I'm in the ship's bilges. Why aren't we doing more while we're in the yard? Why just those three projects? And the short answer to that is money. We have $10 million, which the last time a museum battleship went into the yard for $10 million was Massachusetts back around 1990. The price of everything has gone up. There's been a lot of inflation. The last time an Iowa-class battleship went into the yard, it was $18 million, and that was Missouri in 2009. So there just isn't enough money to do an expanded scope of work. Now, let's say you guys meet Bill Gates and he gives us another $10 million. At that point, how would I expand the scope of the project? Would I do any work inside the ship or even work to the above water hull? No. No. Anything we do in dry dock is going to be more expensive than if we do it here at the pier. So the only projects we're going to do while we're there are the ones that we cannot do here at the pier, the underwater hull of the ship. We were briefly discussing if we could raise enough money, would we paint the freeboard of the ship, everything from the black boot topping up to the gunnels on the hull, the gray part of the hull. And again, we've painted that here in the past, but we were talking about doing it because we're going to go and we're going to spend $10 million and we're going to come back and nobody's going to see any change in the ship. But again, when we looked at that, it just isn't worth it to do it there versus here. Now, there could certainly be mitigating factors that would change that. So for example, if we had significant wastage here in the bilges, being in the yard might be a better place to do that. Texas is doing a lot of work in dry docking, but remember, they're going to end up spending 6 to 10 times as much as our yard period, and they are half of the size of us. That's a little bit of an exaggeration, but they're significantly smaller. So, and they're older. They need more work than we do. And I have a suspicion that part of why they're doing some of the projects that they're doing in the yard is because they're going to end up spending a year in the yard. They cannot spend all that time in the yard, come out of the yard, continue doing work for another year or two, and then open to the public. They'll run out of money long before then. So they have to do all of these projects concurrently. While they're painting the underside of the ship, they have to be getting the deck done, the superstructure done, whatever other project, the inside of the ship, so that they have a tour route ready to go again. Because that battleship changed ownership from the State Parks Commission to the Battleship Texas Foundation, a lot of the original infrastructure, signage, exhibits that the Park Service maintained is no longer there. The original tour route isn't there. They can't get out of the yard and then open the doors. They have to basically start from day one with a whole new tour route. And so they have to do things in the yard. And that's why I imagine many of you are asking this question. You guys have been seeing the very public work, the great work that they're doing on Battleship Texas, and then asking us, well, if they're doing this, why aren't I? And the simple answer is we aren't, because we don't have the money. We have significantly less money. We have significantly less time. Hopefully we'll be in the yard for about 2 months. So again, 1/6 of the time that Texas is going to be in dry dock. But of course, the other main reason is we don't need to. Look at these bilges. There's some dust in here and some other stuff, but there's no corrosion here. There's no real need to do this sort of work inside the ship. We have been able to maintain the inside of the ship very, very well with the volunteer force we have, with the maintenance staff that we have sitting here at the pier. So we don't need to prioritize those sorts of projects when we're in the yard. It's interesting that being one of the more northern museum ships, we actually have a winter. So ships like us, Massachusetts, the folks in Buffalo or Cleveland, around the Great Lakes, we are often closed in the winter or have significantly reduced visitation because of the temperature outside. And so that gives us a lot of time to do work inside the ship. Whereas ships like Missouri or Texas or Alabama that are in more southern latitudes do visitation year-round. In fact, ships like Missouri, they have their heaviest visitation in the winter when people are escaping real winter to go to places like Hawaii. So that is why they needed to do more work in the yard. And we just don't. So we've talked a lot about the 3 projects that we're going to do in the yard and why we're not going to expand it beyond that much. If we had infinite money, what projects would you like to see us do in the yard? What sort of stuff beyond those 3 would you be interested in seeing us do? Let us know in the comment section down below. I'm interested in hearing what it is you guys want to see out of restoration of the ship that we haven't done yet. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, and also from a number of other businesses and private individuals like yourselves. We really appreciate your support. There's a link in the description below if you'd like to donate to support the museum as we go into dry dock. The more support we get, the larger the scope of work we can do while we're in the yard. You can also support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people find about us and our channel. Thanks for watching.